This is a basic lesson about how to set up for welding and the bits and pieces that you're going to need. The first thing you're going to need is preferably some sort of a metal table or bench. Now this is one that a friend made up for me and it works beautifully and I thank him for that. He welded it out of bits and pieces. You can weld out there next to the dog and do it freestanding, but to begin let's use some sort of metal bench, and the reason we use that is because we're going to plug our earth onto the metal and that's going to conduct some electricity back through the metal so that we can weld. And the second thing is, when we're welding, there's a lot of sludge and molten metal that falls off onto the ground and you get things like this, which are the burn marks and molten metal, and that's on my metal bench. Right, what else do we need? We need some sort of a metal brush, and we're going to be using that to clean off the metal if it's rusty or dirty. And if it's new metal, you're probably not going to need to use that, but it does create a nice clean surface and it's going to make your welding much easier. We need a little hammer, which has probably come with your kit if you've bought a kit as a beginner, which is what I did. And we're going to be using that to bash the welds to remove the black casing so that we can then see how well or poorly we've welded, and then we can do some touch-ups or cut the whole thing off and start again, or admire our work. The next thing we need, absolutely essential, is a welding glove. Now I'm right-handed, so I have a left-handed glove. You only need one, and that is to hold things in place when you're welding. Now sometimes when we're welding, things get super hot and you might be wanting to hold the metal very close to where you're welding, so you're going to need something like a pair of pliers, but you can also use things like these clips to hold the bits of metal together. The next absolutely essential is your welding helmet, and I have an auto darkener helmet and it's fantastic. My eyesight is not very good, so into here I have, sorry about the movement, one of these, which is a little magnifier. So for those of us who've got older eyes, magnifying really helps. Now the older helmets were like this one, which is a flip top, and you'd get everything into position, and then when you were going to weld, you'd flip the lid down and it'd protect your eyes. I find it very, very difficult to weld with that, and it's not a recommend from me. And I think most people are probably using the auto darkeners anyway. Then we've got the welding unit, come in a whole lot of different sizes and powers, and I've got a kind of intermediate one now. What I've done is I have plugged in my bits and pieces. Let's see if I can get it back in now. Ugh. Yes, it's actually quite easy. I just made that look very hard. The settings, so we can rotate it up and down depending on how much power we need. And then up this end, we've got the on-off switch. Pretty self-explanatory. Now attached here by these cords are the welding bits. So this is our earth, and what we're going to do is attach that either to our welding project, or if it's, for example, a couple of pieces of metal and you want them to be sitting flat on the table, then you're going to put this into the welding bench. Whoops. Put it onto the welding bench like that, and then you can weld off here, but we'll look at that in a minute. And then the other important part is the actual welding stick. And I have my welding stick in there already. And once we turn it on, we'll be ready to go. So I'll come back for the second video to show you how to do a quick weld.